Why, hello, I'm Daniel Hall, and welcome to Transforming Private Label Rights and Public Domain Content into Your Own by shortcutting the content creation process. So let's talk about the problem here that we face if we are content marketers. And when I say content marketers, I mean you're doing anything to drive traffic on the internet vis-a-vis or via the videos or the articles or the podcasts that you're putting out there. So obviously we need content to help and serve the demographic that we're marketing to, those customers and prospects that we want to work with. And a big part of that is giving them content that actually helps them. Now, of course, while that is the goal, and we know how valuable that is, the problem with it is it's difficult. I mean, it can be difficult for many folks to crank out good quality content that actually does serve their market while dealing with the pressures of running a business and keeping everything else going. So it's kind of like spinning plates, right? To get new content out that's helpful while running your business, while paying the bills, while doing everything else you need to do in your business. So anytime that we could shortcut that process, we want to do that. And one of the things that I love to do is I love to use public domain content in PLR or private label rights content to, again, help shortcut the process. Now, the really interesting thing here is that the solution is involved by using PLR, public domain, and your own expertise and sort of rolling it all into a ball and it becomes something new. So before we kind of get underway too far here, I want to make sure that we're all understanding what I mean when I talk about PLR, public domain, and using your own content. So PLR, let's talk about that first. PLR in internet marketing, that's because that kind of grew out of the internet marketing industry, is basically private label rights that is a license where the author of the original work actually sells most or all of the intellectual property rights in their work, okay? And by the way, that license is defined by the author of the work. And I'm going to show you some examples of this in a little while here. Other than that, PLR has no legal definition. If you don't, if you go to Black's Law Dictionary, you're not going to see a legal definition for PLR, but for most intents and purposes, that's what it is. Essentially, an author, a content creator, creates content and then sells the rights for other people to use it. And they could sell any number of rights off it. They could sell it outright. They could sell master resale rights, which allows people to then buy it but not change it. They could do PLR rights, which is essentially where you can change it. And again, we'll go through some of these definitions and what to look for when you look for PLR in just a second. But I want to now turn to the definition of public domain. The term public domain refers to a work that basically is not protected by copyright, trademark, or patent laws because the public owns the work, which means that anyone can use public domain content for any reason, okay, without obtaining permission or paying royalties. Okay, so that's the beauty of public domain. Whereas with PLR, for example, to compare and contrast, PLR you usually pay for, okay, and public domain is free. Okay, so again, there's a number of other distinctions, but that's a good one to look at. And the beautiful thing, again, with public domain, or PD, is the fact that you could use it for any reason at all. Okay, I'll always get the question that, and I'll probably get the question here with this course: can I do this with public domain? And the answer is, if it's in the public domain, yes, you can. Okay, can I do that with public domain? Yes, you can, if it's in the public domain. You could do anything with it as long as it's in the public domain. And if it is in the public domain, you don't have to ask anyone's permission. Yeah. And you don't have to pay any royalties. Yeah. So good stuff. Now, you use those two, the PLR and the public domain, and then you basically combine them with your own expertise. As I say here, applying your own expertise to the public domain and PLR material to create something known as a derivative work. And using these three things together, you can come up with much more content and valuable content to boot much quicker, okay, lowering your workload and yet creating something of high quality that's actually going to be useful for the marketplace that you're making it for. All right, so now that you understand what public domain, or excuse me, what PLR is, I want to turn the corner here and talk about where to find PLR content. And I will start by saying, this actually goes for public domain as well, that PLR content and the quality of it varies wildly, okay? Generally speaking, the fewer available licenses, the content, the better the content is going to be, although that is not always the case. So let me give you an example here of what I'm talking about. There are content producers that will produce a content, and maybe it's a whole video course. For example, my fixed term memberships, or RealFast fixed term memberships, actually used to be, it was a private label rights course that I bought from a guy by the name of Jimmy D. Brown. And it used to be, before I got a hold of it, used to be a whole course that he developed called Membernaire. If you've been in internet marketing for any period of time, you probably recognize that name because it was a big deal back 10 years ago now, or whatever, 7, 8 years ago. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. The fact is that that I took that, and that content, the Membernaire content, the whole course, it was available, and I believe I paid $1,000 for it. Okay. And I believe he sold 50 licenses to it. So in other words, 50 people paid $1,000 for that content, and then he cut it off. Now, the truth of the matter is that probably very few people actually, even though they paid $1,000 for it, probably very few people actually did anything with it. I certainly looked, and I didn't see anyone else, at least in my niche, doing anything with it. So, hey, great. But the point being is that was really high quality content, high quality PLR content, which we then had to add to and modify for our own purposes. But it shortcutted our workload by a ton. And the really cool thing is it was super, super high quality. And when I launched that product, within the first 30 minutes, I made my money back. Okay. And it's gone on to make many thousands of dollars since then. The point being is it was a very limited PLR package. So it was only available for a short period of time and for a very high cost, comparatively speaking. Now, if you can compare and contrast that with some of these sites that I have for you listed here, master-resale-rights.com, the plrstore.com, masterresalerights.com, and there's a number of others. By and large, These are sites that they'll have some content created and they'll put it for sale on these sites, and it'll be a much lower price. You might spend $10 or $15 for the whole course. But the problem with it, well, there's two problems with it, is that number one, there can be a number of other people buying it. It's not limited to the number, and generally speaking, the lower the price of your PLR, generally, although there have been some exceptions I have found, but generally the lower the cost of it, the lower the quality of it, which is all well and good, just as long as you know that. But even some of the worst quality PLR that I've bought for a couple dollars, it has helped in some of the creation of other of my products, just because it has done the basic research that I needed done and condensed into a PLR package that I could then use. Now, the beautiful thing, if you visit any of these sites, you will see that there are different rights available in different packages. So you can get PLR that's written, and maybe you get it as a MS Word document. You can get it as a video course or even an audio course. Many times they'll even have a sales page written and a whole HTML page for you to use and sell sell the package directly. I never do that. I just usually kind of pick and choose from different packs and maybe put it together. Now, the name of the game with PLR, which by the way is also the same with public domain, which we'll cover here in a second. But the main thing here is to take the essence, take the really good stuff of a PLR product, extract it, and put it in your own product, right? And in so doing, you actually make your product stronger and better, and you create it faster. Again, that's one of the kind of the overarching themes of this training, is that you're sort of cherry picking good content here, and here, putting it together, rolling it in a ball, adding your own content, adding your own expertise, etc., and coming up with something brand new. Now, I wanted to just cover one other thing here if you're searching for PLR content, and that is you could actually just go to Google and put in the name of your keyword, whatever it happens to be. Maybe it's bicycle motocross. Okay, maybe that's what it is, and then the term PLR or private label rights, and just search that. You will probably find some available PLR even on these wild, completely different type of topics, and we'll talk more about that here in just a second as well. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you here is what sort of rights you are getting, because PLR is not a bright line legal definition where it's real clear on what it is in every instance. The fact is that the rights that you purchase with PLR are not all created equal. So I wanted to pull an example here. This was off one of the products available at master-resale-rights.com, and just to show you the distribution rights that you get. In other words, when you pay for the content, not only are you getting the content, but you are getting the rights to do whatever it says under the distribution rights. So in this case, you'll see it says resale rights, master resale rights. So those are those are different. By the way, I don't want to go too far into depths with the difference with this, but resale rights are when you get one-time rights. You buy resale rights so that you can sell it to whoever you want to. Okay? So that's resale rights. Master resale rights are when you buy master resale rights, like in this product, you're getting master resale rights. You then get the right to sell that same package to somebody else. Okay? You get in other words, the right to sell resale rights to somebody else. And of course, private label rights. Those are really what you're looking for. They have usually a much wider availability of what you can do with the content. So I'm always looking for private label rights because I want to essentially, and if you look further down this list, it says may modify the product. Well, that's what you're doing. You're pulling stuff out of the product. And then it says here, giveaway rights. And in this particular package, it had video and it had an ebook, and it says, yes, you can give away the ebook only. Okay, cool, whatever. So different products, different PLR have different rights that they are actually selling. And in this one, it says full product copyrights. So you're not buying the full product copyrights to it, and you're not buying the graphic copyrights, which is fine. I don't really care about that as long as I can modify it and then make what I modify my own and copyright that. That's cool. And it goes on. May I package with other products? Yes. Added to a paid membership site? Yes. Added to free membership sites? Yes, but only the giveaway ebook only. May publish offline? Yes. In other words, you could take their ebook and put it up on CreateSpace as a POD book, for example. May sell an auction site, so you could actually take the resale rights and sell the rights on, say, eBay, right? So that's, again, kind of a quick rundown of the types of rights that you might get at a site like master-resale-rights.com. So again, I wanted to kind of educate you on that so that you know what you're getting. But by and large, you're looking for PLR rights and that you may modify the product. Okay, and the more yeses, generally speaking, that you see in a distribution rights like this, the better it is for you, generally speaking. All right, so in this case, there's two things: full product copyrights. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting full graphic copyrights. So those are no's. But other than that, looks like everything else is pretty much a yes, or at least a qualified yes, and that's pretty good. Okay, so I wanted to show you that PLR comes in a variety of niches. I mean, so it's not just internet marketing stuff. It could be just about anything. And again, I pulled this off one of those sites. Gaming, animal related, recipes, cooking, sports, computing, travel, relationships, home and garden, health and beauty, families, hobbies, personal finance, self-improvement, ClickBank tools, financial, management, blogs, learning tools, templates. Look at this. I mean, just tons of different niches that you can pull from. And this is by no means an exhaustive list. I just wanted to give you a few things here to give you an idea of just the incredible amount of public or private label rights content that is available in various niches. Okay. Now, I want to again turn the corner here and briefly discuss public domain content. And I love public domain content because it's free, and I've used it to make literally tens of thousands of dollars with over the years. So it's been very, very good to me, right? So let's first start off with a definition of public domain. It's the state of belonging or being available to the public as a whole, and therefore not subject to copyright. And you could use it, again, for any purpose without asking for permission or paying royalties. Now, we talked about that earlier, but again, I wanted to reiterate that. Now, here are a few of my favorite places to find public domain content. USA.gov. By the way, I should say right here that if you did not already know that almost everything that the U.S. federal government puts out, and they are the largest creator of content in the world, almost everything that they put out is in the public domain. And USA.gov is a great place. I liken USA.gov to be sort of like the Google of the U.S. federal government. In other words, it uses a search engine and you can find just about any type of content related to the public domain there. And so I'm going to give you that if you don't already know about it. The other one I wanted to tell you about is the HathiTrust.org. This is a interesting website, HathiTrust.org, in that it is actually a consortium of higher education institutions that all got together and decided that they wanted to make their libraries available to one another. So they all agreed to digitize everything in their libraries, to digitize it all, and then allow each library, and members of each institution to borrow directly this, anyone else's collection, what's in it. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that many, I would say, I don't remember the exact figure, but I know it's in the millions of volumes of what's in HathiTrust.org is in the public domain. And, it's really, really good stuff. And I've pulled some really cool stuff out of HathiTrust.org. But I will say that there is a downfall to it, and that is that you cannot, let's say that you find a really good piece of material that you want to use, and maybe it's a whole book, and maybe it's a 40-page PDF, for example. Well, HathiTrust, if you are not a member or you don't have a membership to it, in other words, if you don't belong to one of these institutions, then you can only download one singular page at a time, which I haven't really found to be a big problem. But again, I wanted you to just know that you're only basically pulling down PDF pages, page by page by page. In my experience, I don't usually take any more than 2 or 3 pages in a particular book or publication anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But I wanted to make you aware of it. Now, the next one I wanted to tell you about here is GPO.gov. This is the government printing office. And one of the things I like about the government printing office, and yes, you will find some of the same titles that you would find on USA.gov. It's just sometimes it's easier to find them at GPO. And basically, the government printing office is exactly that. It prints documents, including books and reports and all kinds of things for the U.S. federal government and its employees and the public, okay? Because if you're an American, you're a taxpayer, and this is your printing office as well. So think about that. Now, what I like to do is I like to sometimes find stuff on the GPO, and then, and many times, so here's what will happen with the GPO. Because it is the government printing office, what they will do is they will have a book for sale, and it'll be like, I don't know, a $70 book or a $60 book or, some expensive hardbound book that I'm interested in. And what's nice about it is if I know of the existence of the book, then I can go with the title of it that I find on GPO. I will then go up to USA.gov and then look for the PDF of that title. Because generally speaking, everything that the GPO puts out is also in the public domain. So anything I find PDF wise, because that's generally what I want to work with, is a PDF document, I will then look for at USA.gov. So let's take, for example, let's say that that I find a document on or a book on the GPO called Calisthenics of Navy SEALs. Maybe that's the title of it, and they want $25 for this printed book. And so that lets me know, I'm interested in this book. And you could actually look through it a little bit. Like, okay, Then I usually then will take that title, Calisthenics for Navy SEALs, and then go over to USA.gov and put that in, Calisthenics for Navy SEALs, and then .pdf. And I'll look for the exact PDF that they used to create the book, which is available. Okay, so that's another little kind of a roundabout way to find this kind of public domain material, especially using the GPO. All right. The other one I want to let you know about here is Gutenberg.org. It's been around for a long, long time, and it has a lot of the classic books and whatnot. So again, I wanted you to know that and understand that that's a pretty cool resource. I mean, they have things there. I always kid about what they have on Gutenberg.org. If you want to do a version of the Kama Sutra, that's actually in the public domain, So there's a fun PD project for you, right? So at any rate, all kinds of really cool stuff is available there as well. Most of it is older. Okay. Now, we've covered PLR, private label rights content. We've covered public domain. And you're culling together, you're getting together information on your subject, whatever you want to write about. But I wanted to tell you about this secret weapon that I know that you're going to love. In fact, I would say what I'm about to reveal to you right now is probably, if you're a writer, especially if you're a content creator, what I'm about to reveal to you right now is probably worth your entire year membership in Real Fast VIP, okay? You're going to love this. And the name of the site is called AnswerThePublic.com. Now, I don't know if you remember years ago, the Google had this thing called a Wonder Wheel, where you can kind of type in a keyword and it would kind of shoot off related keywords in a graphic thing, which was kind of cool. And I taught it for a long time until Google got rid of it. But I got to tell you that AnswerThePublic.com is actually even better. In fact, what I want to do here is I want to take a second and show you why this is so doggone cool. This is the site right here. So you could see what it's called AnswerThePublic.com, as you can see here, and it has this little video going. And basically, you come down here and you'd put in your keyword, whatever keyword that you're writing about or you want to write about, okay? So let's do that right now. So I'm going to put in here rock climbing. And you see what it says here? I love this. Well, obviously, you want to keep it in English. Well, probably you do. But type in your keyword and then hit get questions. That should ring a bell to you. Get questions. That means it's going to look for questions related to your keyword, to your topic. But let's take a look at this bad boy. And all right, so here it is. So rock climbing is what we searched. And look at this visualization. So you could actually look at it visualized, but look at this. Look at this. Just look at this. Let me see if I can make this a little smaller so that maybe you could see it. So what is so doggone powerful about this is it gives you how questions, it gives you are questions, it gives you will questions, it gives you can questions, and they're all different. They're all related to rock climbing, and they're all different. And the beautiful thing here is, if you're doing, say, some content or maybe a book, okay, on your topic, let's say it's rock climbing, well, maybe these would be chapters, okay, that you'd like to cover. So here, how to build a rock climbing wall. Well, that sounds like it'd be a damn good chapter of a book on rock climbing, right? Maybe. How to put on a rock climbing harness. These are how to How is rock climbing graded? Okay. How to rock climbing to do a belay. All right. How rock climbing works. Here's another one. How rock climbing routes are rated. Lovely. These are all how questions, but let's come over here to can questions, right? Can questions. Can rock climbing, let me get over here. Can rock climbing shoes get wet? This is a question you may want to, can you see that maybe as a blog post? Maybe rock climbing is your thing. And what's cool about this is it's pulling it out directly off of Google. Okay. It's pulling it directly off of Google as a related keyword. So this actually is better than the old Wonder Wheel. I think much better because you can see more information, and to me, it gets my wheels turning much quicker. And I could add a chapter on can rock climbing get you in shape? That's a cool question. Can rock climbing cause arthritis? Right, and so forth. So. Let's see. Here are our questions. How much are rock climbing holds? How much are rock climbing walls? They're just different questions here. You see what I'm saying? And it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. Here's the other cool thing. If you scroll down a little further, it gives you actually prepositions. All right. That are related to rock climbing. Like, what about rock climbing Canary Islands, rock climbing camps, rock climbing canvassing? Let's see, rock climbing Israel. Let's see, rock climbing without ropes, rock climbing with ropes, rock climbing with gloves, rock climbing with long nails. Okay. On and on and on. So if you are a content creator, this one thing that I just showed you, this answer the public tool, you should not ever have any need to figure out what I'm doing next, and use this to organize what it is you're going to write, whether that's going to be a book, a blog post, a podcast, whatever it is. Okay, a video course. All right. Completely free to use. Hot dog. Okay, this is a touchdown. I hope you see that. I hope that you get that. All right, so that is answer the public. So let's now go back here because I wanted to cover the next thing, which is once you've kind of got your public domain and our PLR content together. You have looked at the stuff at answerthepublic.com. Then remember that this training is about transforming PLR and public domain content into your own content and doing it fast. And I believe that the best way to do that, it's not the only way for sure, but I'm here, this is Real Fast VIP. We're about doing things as fast as possible. And I believe that you should start with video. Video in the hierarchy of things, that's where you want to be. Because if you start with video, you can take that video and you can make an online course out of any of the videos that you make for your content. Then you could actually strip out the audio from your video and make either online courses with that or use it as podcasts, for crying out loud. Okay. And then you could have the audio or the video transcribed into written format. And because of the fact that you're starting with a slide deck and you're narrating your way through a slide deck, the prose is much cleaner. Like the prose that would come out of a transcription of this very training is going to be relatively clear and easy to edit and to polish into a book if I wanted to do that. Okay. If I really truly wanted to do that. So, and again, this is a super important thing that you understand, is that if you start with video, it could become all these things or any of these things, and it gives you more options to work with the content. And really, that's what I'm all about, is giving you the maximum number of options, because again, with options you could do so much. All right. So the next thing I wanted to cover here is actually the process of using PowerPoint, Keynote, or a Google presentation. Now, one of the things that I will tell you here is that I am using the Google presentation, the Google Slides, more and more often, and I'm so glad that I am, because it's like I was at an event this last weekend, and I was asked to do a presentation because somebody else kind of fell out of the order, and they like, hey, can you fill in? And because I had my presentations all already up on Google Presentations, I was able to quickly pull down a presentation and present pretty much at a moment's notice, because as long as I had access to my Google account, I had internet access, in other words, I could basically pull down any document that I wanted to, any presentation that I wanted to. Anyway, doesn't matter if you like PowerPoint or Keynote or Google presentation, that's cool. But I strongly suggest that as you transform this public domain and PLR content, that you do it in this manner. It has certainly worked very, very well for me. So let's kind of walk through the process here. First, you're going to want to use Answer the Public to choose questions that you want to answer, and then call together answers for the questions from your PLR or public domain, or vice versa. In other words, that you could start by doing your research with your public domain material or public domain PLR material, and then go back to answerthepublic.com and find out which questions you can readily answer. Okay, after having gone through and read through, each one of these. Either way, whatever works for you, I just wanted you to know that it works in both directions. And then once you've done that, then I like to bullet point out what I want to cover. Now, I'm giving you a perfect example of how to do that by and through this very presentation, because that's what I did for this presentation. I bullet pointed, I put each slide had something that I wanted to say, generally speaking, about whatever is in the headline up here, right? And then I just bullet pointed out each and every other thing that I wanted to talk about. And again, this gets your thoughts, your content out onto the page much, much quicker. And by the way, you could just do keywords, you could do phrases like I've been doing here. And it's really kind of meant to cue you to use as a springboard to riff off on what's here, and you want to be as detailed as possible. So that's the next thing. Once you've filled out your PowerPoint, and just to kind of show you here, I think I've got 13 slides so far in this particular presentation, and we've been going about 38 minutes or so, just to kind of give you an example, right, of what I'm talking about here, on how much content you can get in a very short period of time by using this technique. But the interesting thing here, and the thing that you really need to keep in mind as you're going through your slides and you're narrating what's on your slides, pulled from the answers that you got, or the questions you got from Answer the Public and your public domain and PLR rights stuff, you want to be as detailed as is possible in explaining it and going through, much again like I have been modeling here for you. I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I were listening to this, if I were sitting where you're sitting right now, what questions would I have? I got to make sure that I'm going to cover those to the best of my ability, to pre-think for you and answer the questions for you. So again, be as detailed as is possible. And I like to kind of put in my head that I'm sort of the daddy, and I'm spoon feeding my baby. Okay. So yeah, baby steps, baby bites, in bite-sized little nuggets to make it easy to digest and easy to understand. Okay. Because in the file analysis, that's your job as a content creator, is to make sure that your content is so good that it's easy to consume and easy to apply in the lives of those people that you're trying to serve, okay? Because to the extent you possibly can do that, you're going to make their life better, okay? And they're going to be more bonded to you and want to buy your stuff more, okay? Because you're actually helping them, which is, all too often that happens not nearly enough with many pieces of content, authors, and so forth. Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to say here is that use in whatever way you see fit. In other words, what I wanted to make sure that you're really clear about is that while I love PLR and PD content, I don't use much PLR, but I use a lot of public domain content. And what I love about it is that when you mix it with your own knowledge, with your own take, it becomes basically brand spanking new. It is a derivative product. And as a derivative product, it really does, it really becomes something brand new. And because of that, you get something that you can copyright. It could be protected by copyright. I like to think about this as you, by your thoughts, by your mental processes, by you sort of taking in this public domain content, this PLR content, and digesting it, you are the filter that transforms that content into something brand new. Okay? Brand spanking new. And that gets me excited because you could do this again very, very quickly if you follow these steps that I just walked you through. Okay? Now, the last important question, and not really a question, the last important thing that I want to really get across to you is that this method, this modality that I've just kind of walked you through here, especially if you are maximally filtering the content, could be done with any kind of research. Okay? So in other words, it doesn't have to be necessarily just public domain or PLR rights content. It could be any kind of content at all. Okay. But as long as you are taking it and putting your own spin on it, putting it in your own words, using your own stories to help explain it, your own examples to help explain whatever the content is, bada bing. That's what research is. That's what book writing is, for crying out loud. Okay. So don't get stuck on thinking, oh, it has to be public domain. It happens to be public domain or PLR. The reason I like PLR and public domain is that if I find big sections that I want to use for like, say, a page or two of material, then I could do that without having to worry about, rewording it. But if I'm getting the research directly from some other source, then I have to really be careful to change it completely and put it completely in my own words. But again, I wanted you to know that this strategy definitely works for research, although it's a little bit more work. In other words, research that is protected by copyright. Okay. Okay. So I hope that you found this material and this strategy helpful. And please let me know in the Facebook group and in here whether you like this, whether you could see yourself using it. So until next time, go use this material and let me know about your successes, the hurdles you overcame, those things that you did to actually implement this. And I will see you on the next training.